Hey guys, welcome back to the Elevate Collection podcast. We're so excited today because we have an incredible guest for you. We'd love to welcome to the podcast Matt Altman. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, ladies. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Alex. Nice to see you.
Nice to see your face. You guys, we're in for a treat. We have someone very special. Whether you're looking to hire a renowned comedy headliner like Jerry Seinfeld, or a philanthropic gala, or mesmerizing your guests with an intimate private concert by Sting in your Aspen mansion, Matt Altman is the man to make it happen. Altman has spent more than 20 years in the entertainment business, forging relationships with artist representation who consider him a respected go to guy to orchestrate every aspect of the booking with his team. From securing the talent, the production, lighting, and travel logistics, he promises and always delivers seamless wow factor performances by your favorite musical icons like Sheryl Crow, Tim McGraw, Willie Nelson, and even Earth, Wind, and Fire. He loves bringing people together in intimate, private, luxury settings to enjoy an A-list talent anywhere in the world. If you want top artists, have the budget to engage with them, and they're available, all you have to do is secure the venue and let Matt take care of the rest. Beyond the thrill factor of being up close and personal with these legendary entertainers, Altman shares that when philanthropists, foundations, and charities engage his sought after talent roster, oftentimes a 150,000 performance fee generates millions of dollars in donations at the event. As a global organization, there is very little, if nothing, that we can't handle for our clients from a service, logistics, and relationship standpoint. Trust us to bring the good times to you and just relax and enjoy an incredibly memorable experience, as said by the brilliant Matt Altman. How the heck did you get into this?
Yes, I mean, it really started with I did a favor for a friend. He called me up one day. He said, "Hey, I need a favor." And this was February of 1999. He says, "I need a favor." He was a good friend of mine. He says, I need a favor." So, yeah, man, what do you need? He says, "You have a pad." This was Monday, like this, Monday in the middle of the afternoon. "You have a passport?" "I do." "I need you to go to Curacao." Oh, it sounded like a loaded question, right? Um, he says, "I have this band booked and I need someone to take care of them. I need you to go to Philadelphia. I need you to pick up this band. I need you to make sure that they get on the plane. I need you to make sure they get to the show in Curacao. I need for you to meet the promoter. I need for you to get the check. I need for you to bring the check back to me and make sure the guys get on the plane and come back." I was like, "All right, I can figure that out." And so sure enough, I was busy doing something else, right? Like I was working, but I had the weekend free and I was happy to help. Fast forward 2 years later, September 11th happened. After September 11th, I was out of a job. I spent my 20s in telecom. I was 31 years old. I had no job. And that same friend, we started talking and I got the old loaded commentary. "You can come work with me, but I can't pay you." And I said, "Okay, I'm happy to." And I spent 9 years working with a friend of mine. And I developed the relationships that I still have, that I speak to daily today, all these years later. And there was a gentleman that literally lived in his office, like you see in the movies. There's a guy that lived in his office, and he's now long retired, but he was an old school rock and roll guy. And he taught me production, staging, sound, lights, backline, what every last person on a stage is doing, what they're supposed to be doing, how it's supposed to be done properly. And I did that for 9.5 years. And then one day I woke up and I said, "You know what? It's time to do something else." And that's how I started Headline Booking. And Headline Booking is going to be 15 years old next year. And so here we are. That's the very abridged version.
What's your favorite part of what you get to do daily?
Right there, the smile on your face. That's it. I promise. It's the number one thing that moves me, motivates me. I tell folks all the time that I was raised a certain way and I was taught rock and roll a certain way. And it's the same way and it's the proper way. And I'm very grateful for that. And everything I do is truly in the service of others.
Yeah.
So if I can do what I do and what I've been taught, and as you said, thank you very much, Alexandria, deliver that band, that scenario, that situation What it does is it brings a smile to your face. And that's it. I usually wait. We'll get to show day, right? And the band will be on. And regardless of what it is, whether it's a private party like we were talking about, some sort of corporate event and or a philanthropic gala, ultimately my client has brought us there, right? I usually try to wait. I wait like 10, 15 minutes so everything's moving. And then I catch them with a smile on their face. And when I see the smile on their face, that's when I go over and say hello and see how they're doing. And they're happy because we've done what we said we were going to plan to do. And so that's my favorite part of it. It really is. The idea that I get to speak to people all day about entertainment, about high level entertainment, things that make people happy. There's an element of joy to what I do. And the fact that I am in a position to bring joy to people, I consider a blessing.
That's amazing. I think before we entered the sports entertainment industry, something like this, like, really never crossed our mind outside of seeing it on, like, MTV, like My Super Sweet 16 when you saw somebody performing at a, 16th birthday. For our followers out there who, maybe haven't explored this avenue yet, like, what is the barrier to entry for a type of experience like this? Like, is every experience 150,000? Can you work within a budget? Give our listeners an idea in case some of them out there, like, didn't know how attainable this was.
Sure. So from a dollar standpoint, I tell people that traditionally my clients are spending anywhere from 150 to $650,000. That's a fair average on any given day. You have your mega artists that are, let's call it your Tim McGraw, your Sting, your Lady Gaga, Eagles, and Jelly Roll, and we'll go on of sort of artists at that level. Then you're at a seven-figure level. You're at $1 million, a million plus. I was just working with someone, they wanted the whole group for Red Hot Chili Peppers. The quote was significant, right? It was multiple millions of dollars. Now, on the other side of it, there is opportunity. So everything comes with expenses. So in terms of artist fees, we usually say that sort of the bottom level, at least with regard to what we do, is starts at about 50,000. So like I'm working with a client that I've worked with for many years. I was working on it this morning. They're bringing in two bands, and we're paying each band $90,000. So they're spending almost $200,000 completely, but each band's $90,000. If someone's got a budget and they say, "Hey, I'm having an event and I want entertainment and I've got a budget of $35,000," we sort of get into the clarification of exactly, again, Alex, what you were talking about, the dynamic of the necessary production, the additional expenses from hotels and ground transportation and catering. And if they're only sitting at that number that's under 50,000, well, I'll do my best to steer them in another direction. Again, I'm very grateful for what I do. People are coming to me for my expertise and my experience within the entertainment field. So I want to be able to share that knowledge the best I can. But that's the long answer to sort of dollars is is sort of the basement, can go up to several million. And if it's anything under 50,000, I'm still happy to have an email, have a quick conversation with someone and at least direct them the best that I can.
So you just mentioned like a couple other like facets that I don't think maybe people consider when the budget, like you said, catering, logistics, like hotel, all of those things. What of those costs do you feel like are most like what's most forgotten? Like catering, I didn't even come to my mind, like catering as an associated cost to think about when you're budgeting for these things. Because my concern would be that you think you're just the budget is just for the act itself, going straight to the act, but not all the logistics. So what other fees are you typically having to make sure are covered within that budget?
So it's a standard list. Again, getting back to how I was taught. And this is appreciated by the clients and by the artist as well, because it's a thorough, comprehensive list. And it's always the same, regardless of who the artist is, regardless of the location. You start with your fee, what we're paying everybody. Okay. Then you have your flights, your airfare. You've got to get them there. Then you have stage, sound, lights, and backline. So that's the actual production. That's the actual show. The artists need the instrument, they need the lights, they need the audio in order to project. Then you have power staff and labor. You have those that are necessary to make it work, right? Someone's got to build it, someone's got to run that show so the artists can play. Then you have hotel accommodations, local ground transportation, and miscellaneous rider requirements. The miscellaneous rider requirements are catering. towels, waters, things of that nature. A lot of what we do, I have a friend who's a banker, and he had said to me a couple of years ago, I think I'd spoke with you ladies about this. He said, Matt, you're the easy button. They call headline booking and we take care of everything. And they go, that was easy. And much to a little bit of the intro, which I know that I shared with you, but we've adjusted a little bit. You talked about all you have to do, meaning from the client side, is provide the venue. I tell people quite honestly, I tell them they don't need a venue. I tell them, give us coordinates and my guys will pack a 53-foot truck and we'll meet you there. And that really speaks to a lot of our high end clientele, people that own ranches and people that own big land, whether it's out in Texas or in Colorado, up in this sort of the Wyoming, Idaho, Utah region, and being able to deliver that full, unforgettable concert experience outside. We'll go in your backyard, no problem. It's still a venue, but it's not a venue in its traditional sense. And that is the full list. You cover all of those expenses. There is nothing else.
That's amazing that you guys are taking care of the logistics because I know that can be the nightmare of the headache. And I love seeing in the music industry some of these really innovative pop ups, concerts happening on mountainsides, DJ sets, and ski villages. I love to see the innovative creativity that's happening.
It's fun and it's interesting. So you mentioned one word, and I'll get back to something that I was taught. I don't use some of the old cliches as much, but there are two that I'll bring out. I'll make sure in this interview. One is we take the headaches, you take the bows. And ultimately that's it. So you talk about all those things that go into it. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to make your life as easy as we possibly can, to put you in a position to shine, to allow you to be there for your guests, to be there to be the host, to be there whatever you want to be, because the concert side of it, dealing with Lady Gaga and her people, dealing with Sting, dealing with Bruno, dealing with, go back to that event that just happened last week. Someone had to manage Bruno and Eddie and Youngblood, and okay, that's what we do. Coming in and making their lives great, because our hallmark is happy client, happy artist, happy crew. That smile on your face. That's the most important thing. You're the ones that brought us here. Then we do everything we can from handling the logistics standpoint to make the artist as happy and as comfortable as possible. Because if they're as happy and comfortable as possible, then they're going to give the best performance and they're going to have a great time. Because again, we're in someone's backyard, we're in a private setting, we're in a ballroom, we're in a ranch, wherever we may be. We're not in the middle of Madison Square Garden. The experience for them is different as well. And then it goes down to the crew. Because if the client's happy and the artist is happy, the crew's having a good day. And whatever headaches that are going on, they're invisible, because that's what we do. That's what I'm here for, to make sure that you don't see them. You're there to be you. So that's the first part of it. Forgive me for going on the tangent, but it's a really important thing that people have to recognize. And in terms of the dynamic of the outdoors, we just had Gavin DeGraw. We just had Gavin DeGraw perform 3 weeks ago, November the 20th, the week before Thanksgiving. And literally, we built a stage outdoors on the shore of Lake Superior. And we were in Duluth, Minnesota, outdoors for the concert, third week of November. And we were prepared. And that's really what it's all about. Those are the logistics, Jordan, that you're talking about. Is not, as they say, it's not my first rodeo. So understanding that you've got to be in a position to keep the artist properly heated. So you build three walls, two on the side and one on the back, and you pump in hot air across the floor of the deck, and you get infrared heating at each position for each guitar and the keyboard and the drums. That way everyone there is comfortable. Then you take the time and you make sure that you budget and you build a 20 by 40 tent adjacent to the stage that's almost invisible to the client. But what do you have in there? Same thing. Pumped heat and space heaters. That way everyone's able to work. And the 38 degrees outside is almost invisible. And so, yes, that's what we do.
Okay, this is a little bit off the beaten path question, but I'm just so curious. Because I used to, in a past world, like help book talent for events and things like that, right? What, you don't have to tell us who, but what are some of the craziest things you've ever seen on like an artist writer? Like, I know, like, easy things are, like, black towels, for, like, their makeup, like, so, like, when they're sweating, you go to
So
bed. But, like, what are crazy things you've seen on some riders?
so I'll flip the script on you a little bit and I'll tell you a tale. Okay.
Mm,
And I'll name names.
Ooh, we're getting the tea.
Okay. This is a long time ago.
okay.
Maybe I won't name the artist.
He's, like, rethinking that.
So what's the most outrageous thing I've ever seen on a rider?
Mhm.
To me is mythical.
Is
Like
what is
that
it?
gets mythical. Like that doesn't really exist in my world,
Okay.
right? Like I've seen hundreds of riders, the biggest artists in the world, and the idea of Van Halen and the green M&Ms and all that, like that was tales of yesteryear. Instead, instead, here's what I have seen, and here's what you have to do. There are very specific requests, right? I need vegetarian meals. I need this on this day. I need that because the purpose of the rider is to make the artist as comfortable as possible. It's about familiarity. It's not about being difficult. It's not about being obtuse. It's not about seeing, did you really read the rider? Instead, as they go from town to town, they need a certain level of consistency again to give them the greatest ability to give the best performance. So the rider that you're going to get on a public show or a private show are going to be pretty much the same. Here's the tale. Okay. This was back when I was learning. This is literally 20 years ago. This was spring of 2005. I remember like it was yesterday. I was sitting with the gentleman that I made mention of earlier who taught me pretty much everything. And pardon my French, I'm going to curse. Okay. He says, fuck this artist. This artist is the name that I'm now going to hold back. Okay. He says, fuck this artist. And I said, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, what do you mean? Fuck this artist. He says, come here. I'm going to show you. And on the rider, there was about 5 bottles of wine, very specific vintners and vintages. I need a Rothschild 2000, whatever. I'm just making that up, right? But very specific. And then it said, to remain sealed, not open and corked, sealed. And I said, okay. He says, I'm not building his wine cellar on the client's dime. So essentially, they were asking for very specific bottles of wine and for them to remain closed. That way, they could just take them with them when they left, and then they would go into their wine cellar. And ultimately, the client bought the wine for them. He says, go in and call the tour manager right now. Go in and call the tour manager right now and tell him that you are not providing any of this wine. Tell them that you will have 3 bottles of wine of good caliber, and this is what's going to be provided. And then come back. And I went inside and I called, and he's like, oh, yeah, man, sure. Okay, no problem. Thanks for calling and checking. Bye. And that was the end of it. And so that's always the story that I use because it's not that it was such a crazy request, it's that it was such a specific request. And the specific request ultimately had ulterior motive. So being able to have the professionalism, the experience to be able to dissect that, what it means, and then find a way through it to make sure that you're representing the client's interest to the best of your ability, which is my responsibility, and also being there for the artist 100%, which is also our responsibility. So that's the answer.
That was a question I had. Like, if you get one of those crazy rider requests, can you like terminate the contract? Are there workarounds? Are there things like that? Because I imagine that would have been pretty pricey.
Everything when it's initially contracted is to be advanced and mutually agreed upon. Those are the magic words. And you put that in the offer so it's a managed expectation so they understand where you're coming from. And again, I'm grateful for the years of expertise and experience. So when those words come, when the offers come from my company on the behalf of our client, they understand fully that I am there to represent my client to the best of our ability, but also be there for them and the artist to the best that we can.
One thing we love to talk about on the podcast are lifestyle benefits.
Okay.
Clearly, this job comes with some pretty unique lifestyle benefits. And we like to discuss like life by design. Like, you've traveled the world, you've met some really amazing people. Like, is there a certain moment or benefit or experience that stands out to you?
That's a great question, Jordan, honest to God.
So travel is a lifestyle benefit, okay? In and of itself. The idea that we are a global organization. My number one favorite thing to do is to go places I've never been. And by going places I've never been, I'm able to get that experience because I know what I'm doing. I'm bringing the talent. I'm bringing in the staff. I'm bringing in that concert. You know, again, our motive. You get it in the way that I was taught. You get them in, you get them up, you get them out. The locations are sometimes incredible. So, like when I went to when we had Tim McGraw, it was in the middle of the pandemic. It was in the middle of the pandemic, and our client had just bought this historic butte in a town by the name of Green River, Utah. And I'll send you ladies a couple of photos. The property had turned hands for the first time in 45 years. And so with that, he invited these people and surprised them with Tim McGraw. And you were out, and it was majestic. There was no other word for it. Like we were loading in the night before, and the harvest moon was rising over the other side of the mountain range. And literally to have built the stage in front of the butte and then watch the harvest moon rising over the range in the short distance was pretty cool. And the other I would say to you, and this has been a gift, right? I'm just looking forward to the next, is that I've had the opportunity to produce concerts in 3 different castles in the UK.
Wow.
And getting having the access and being the trusted resource and going into places like that. So like I had Leona Lewis, who won the very first X Factor, performing a client's wedding in England in 2012. I was in New Orleans for work, and then I flew straight to London, and it was a Saturday. It was May of 2012. It wasn't until I was there, and the venue was Highclere Castle. And it wasn't until I was there and we were setting up that I was talking to the person that was running sort of the planning side of it. And they told me that that was where Downton Abbey was filmed. And I had never like really watched Downton Abbey, but then I have since. And if you look at Downton Abbey and any of their promo and any of the television shows, I produced a Leona Lewis concert in that castle. And so that was kind of hip. And so those are some of the those are the biggest lifestyle benefits. That and depending on the clients, your ability to work in premium locations.
Yeah.
And to me, premium locations are your Four Seasons, your Rosewood properties, your Ritz Carltons, an Amman, things like that. Those are extraordinary gifts to be able to work with clients at that level again and do what we do inside the context of those spaces.
This is such a cool job. It just have you ever been starstruck as well, like, by, like,
That's a good
any,
one.
like, particular talent that you've been able to experience? Of course, I know, like, you're doing your job, you're doing things with excellence, you're moving with grace, but have you ever had a moment where you're like, "Oh my god." Like, I mean, you mentioned, like, Sting already. Like, have you ever had anyone has ever just been like, "Whoa, I can't believe this is my life." Like, who were you starstruck by, if at all?
So you ladies are asking all the best questions, and I'm happy to have a lot of the answers because again, I'm doing this almost 25 years. So a lot of, and I'm very grateful for this. Like we spoke of initially, both all three of us, that I'm always learning. I'm always doing and giving more the best I can, but I'm extraordinarily grateful to be able to share and the things that I do have to share. And that again, smiles on your face. So my standard answer is nobody. And I'll tell you why. Because when I was 12 years old, I met Joe DiMaggio and I smoked a joint with Keith Richards. Thus, everybody in the world, you're not Joe DiMaggio and you're not Keith Richards. So there's I was taught very young, all of the golden rule adages that you speak to everybody the same, you respect your elders. And then my parents really took it one step further, explaining that you really have to respect the experiences of others and what they've done and have a certain level of compassion for whatever they went through, good, bad, and indifferent. And so with that, I always speak to everybody the same. And so by the time I'm with the artists, I've already advanced these dates with their production manager, with their tour manager, with their agent. So there's a comfort level when they get there that they know that their interests have been taken care of. And with that, everybody's easy. It's the same as talking to you, quite honestly. So I don't even think about it. I really don't. And what happens is it gets appreciated. Sometimes I don't, you never take anything for granted. And sometimes I'll get pulled aside. Other times I'll hear about it afterwards. But that's it. And it's all up and down the line. I just did a gig with Blues Traveler in June. And John Popper's been doing this a very long time, right? He looked at me, it was after the show, he had a big smile on his face. I'm like, you had fun? He goes, of course you had fun. He says, Matt, let me tell you. I said, what, John? He says, every time I see you, I know we're going to have a good show. And that's it. That's the magic. And so I carry that with everyone I speak to. We all walk the same earth. We all walk the same earth. So if we treat each other the same with respect and integrity, then everybody's cool.
I love that mantra. Is there someone who you haven't had a chance to work with yet that's on your, like, bucket list?
Good question. That's a good one. See the dates out there, and I'm waiting for the right client because it's expensive, right? I hate to go right to the mountaintop, but like I would really love to do a date with Gaga. And it's only a matter of time until we do. And I just feel as though everything about it will be such a tremendous experience because so many of my clients are such interesting people. And that's the reason why they spend the dollars for their own personal purposes, for the entertainment of others, to help others raise dollars. And it's a significant price tag, right? It's several $1,000,000 to hire. But I know that she does the dates. And so working with the right individual, there's something about how she approaches everything from everything that I've read. I've become friendly with people that have worked with her, understanding who she is as a person. We're both New Yorkers. There's something in that part of it. And then just being able to be responsible to allow her to deliver the art in the manner in which she does, I think would be super rad. I really do. And I think that that's like top of my head. I get it. It's like the mountaintop, but like that's it. The other one, just thinking super quick, right? Like not really thinking about it. The person that just popped into my head for a lot of the same reasons, Lenny Kravitz.
He's cool,
Mm.
yeah. I feel that, super artistic. So with all that you do, Matt, what is the legacy that you hope to leave on this world?
It's funny, I have to get the word out of my head because I just saw Mike Tyson Sunday night do his one-man show, and he talked about his disdain for the word, and he's a man that really has one. So I'm trying to keep that out of my head. Would really love to be remembered for the person that I am, to have been ambitious, to have been sympathetic, to have been empathetic, to have been the ultimate professional, to be the person that others relied upon, to be remembered as the person, as you said, who delivers, the people that brought the joy, the person that was able to make others smile. If that's what's said about me when it's all said and done, then I feel I've done my job.
That's amazing. That's definitely quite the legacy to leave. All right, if there's one thing us or our community or any of our listeners can do to elevate you right now, what would that be?
Anytime that you has any conversations about any kind of headline talent, again, I talk to people about social gatherings and milestone events. So it's your birthday party, I'm having a summer party, it's a marriage of sorts, and any kind of those sorts of things. Involved in any kind of corporate settings, whether they are working for someone, whether they hear about it peripherally, whether it's again, conference, incentive trip, client entertainment, just having people have a good time. And or people that are involved with philanthropy and galas, whether they're board members, whether they're thinking about doing something. And there's the notion of wanting to bring entertainment into that event. Call me, please. Reach out to me. Never be shy. Everyone has my email address. I give most everyone my cell phone. Tell people text me, call me, email me. Again, because of that component of what we're able to do. It is the access is to truly everyone. Any artist is one phone call away. With regard to putting up the shows and handling the logistics, like we talked about, we've got it covered. And so it's making life easy for everybody. My biggest goals are exposure and awareness. So anyone that is looking to book a band, book a comedian, having an event, even interested, even if they don't know who they want, but know they want to do something and have just rough parameters in their mind, please reach out and we're here to help. That would be the best.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for sharing with us, and we hope that we can be involved in a headline booking show soon.
As you ladies know, first of all, thank you 1,000 times, right? Like this was great. When we first started, I was like, all right, let's see how this is going to go. And then, as you very much said, it settled down. Much to what you just said, with regard to everything that you do, please, anything that I can do, however I can help. I think that we've done a beautiful job building a very nice friendship here, and I can look forward to doing lots of things together.
Mhm.
We can too.
Well,
We'll put all
until
of your
then, guys,
we'll put all of your contact information down in the show notes, and we are so excited to see you soon, Matt.
Thank you, ladies. I'll talk to you soon. Happy
We'll
holidays
see
to
you.
everybody.
Happy holidays.
Bye bye.